Hey guys, what's up? GreenMachineSam back with another video, and today we have another Bears React video. Today we are taking a look at Week 3. Unfortunately, we lost the Indianapolis Colts. It was a pretty shit game for the first half, especially. Just not seeing a whole ton in the first half, seeing the second half come alive a little bit better, especially once Caleb Williams and Roma Dunes they got going even more. It just sucks. It sucks seeing this stuff. And I know there's going to be growing pains, and I get it, but this is a game that we should win, right? I said it once and I've said it again. These first 9 games are going to be where we're going to have to win a majority of our games. Because once we get to those divisional games in the later half of the season, you know, I think we have like 6 divisional games and like 8. We have 6 divisional games in the last 8 are, you know, of the last 8. And I just want to preface this by saying that just because I say that I don't like a football player or that I want them to be cut or I don't think they're good does not mean I'm rooting against them. I will never say, you know, actively root against somebody that doesn't deserve it. I'm just speaking my mind because I don't want to root against somebody because they're doing something that I wish I could be doing, right? They're playing football for a living, okay? I'm never going to hate on the man. I'm going to hate on the player. If the player is not good, I'm going to say that they're not good. It's as simple as that. And just, I don't get anybody that roots against people. I really don't. I don't want anybody not to succeed. Like, even though I didn't like when we drafted Mitchell Trubisky, I never said I hated him because of the man he is. I just hated how he played and stuff like that. So let's hop into things. Let's get going right away. Breaking down the O-line, I basically broke down each and every single individual here. Braxton Jones, in my opinion, through 3 games so far, just doesn't look quick enough. I don't know if it's his get off. I don't know if it's his feet or his athleticism just in general. He just doesn't look quick enough to really handle the edges. I don't know if that's something that needs to be addressed. Just something I'm seeing. It could be from coaching. All this could be from coaching, so I will preface that by saying, you know, it could be from coaching and how they are being taught to do stuff in this offense is the main thing. Tevin Jenkins looks stiff. I don't know what they did to my boy, but holy fuck, does he look? Maybe the injuries have caught up to him, or maybe the coaches just aren't using him how they should, which is using his best ability, which is power. You know, he's a very strong individual. He can move guys pretty well. I would like to see him move to right guard, personally. I don't think they will. I think Nate Davis probably gives them their best opportunity on the O-line now that Ryan Bates is on IR. But I think the best chance we have is moving Tevin Jenkins to right guard and putting him next to Darnell Wright and at least just shoring up that side, right? At least nobody's going to be in Caleb Williams' face. Like I said, I don't know if it's the injuries, but he just looks stiff. It looks like he doesn't really have a whole ton of movement, per se. And when he is moving, he just doesn't look, it doesn't look natural. Coleman Shelton is a liability. I understand why we are starting him currently, you know, especially with Ryan Bates going down. But when left by himself, he just seems like he doesn't have the power or the raw capabilities of being a starting center. When they send 6 guys, it does not look pretty. And especially against Coleman Shelton, he gets walked back into the lap of Caleb Williams. He's definitely a starting caliber center if you have good players next to him at guard. Think last year's Rams, which he was a part of. I don't know how much he started last year, but when you have Kevin Dotson and you have the other guy, the guy that they just drafted. Well, not just drafted, but, you know, drafted a year ago. That was playing guard. When you have 2 decent players around him and you have a quarterback that can get the ball out and a, you know, coach that can easily scheme up plays to get you out of certain situations, I think you're going to look better than, of course, you are. Nate Davis / Matt Pryor, because we did see a little bit of Nate Davis, even though he was banged up. Nate Davis, he just can't make up his mind in the run game. It seems like he doesn't quite know where he wants to go with things. There's been multiple clips that I've seen where it's like he's supposed to move up to the second level, or he's supposed to, you know, do something, and he just can't make up his mind of what he wants to do or who he wants to attack. And late reactions, he can't catch a pass off right. If they run a stunt to the inside, you know, the D tackle goes to the outside to try to, you know, force a mistake by the offensive line. He just doesn't seem to really ever catch those stunts and stuff, especially coming back in across from the outside. Matt Pryor, I don't understand starting the 6'7", 350-pound, normally a tackle at guard. I don't know why we ever let Ja'Tyre Carter go. I guess they just didn't think he was good enough. I don't really think he ever got a fair shot, but I think Matt Pryor starting at guard, the dude that can barely bend over, a tackle that has played on 4 teams in 5 years, not entering the league until he's 25. I don't think it's the best thing. I would rather see somebody else in that situation. Darnell Wright, I don't know what's happened to him. He doesn't look the same. He's regressed to worse than his first game in the NFL last season. I don't know what's going on, but anytime you cross his face, it seems like you're winning. Now, is that partially on Nate Davis? That definitely could be, or it could be on the coaching. The coach needs to be fired. Whoever the offensive line coach is, you need to try something out different. I don't know what's going on. I understand the play. You know, we don't have the best players on that offensive line, right? We don't have that best O-line. But when the coaches can't, you know, try to hide some of their weaknesses, can't really do much, you know, we might be looking at another Andrew Luck situation. And I'm promising you now, if there's no change, it's going to come sooner rather than later. Caleb Williams is going to get fed up eventually. He's not going to be losing and being happy, and especially when he's getting hit. The rookies looked good. Caleb Williams, 363 yards, 63 completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Looks good, especially in the second half when they let him just become strictly a passer and he wasn't trying to play that hero ball. He looked very, very good. I think, like I said, he needs to chill out on the hero ball until he can really find his footing in the passing game. He needs to understand that these are better athletes, right? He's not going against 1 or 2 good athletes every game. He's going against the best athletes from across the countries. Across the country and stuff like that. So he needs to understand that he's not always going to be able to outrun people and escape. Rome's route tree looked much better. Routes run were a lot better, especially if you saw the comparison between the last 2 weeks. He definitely looks good, especially with Keenan Allen missing his 2nd straight game. 6 catches, 112 yards, 1 TD on 11 targets. Better connection with Caleb. Of course, I don't really consider like 11 targets to be truthful. You know, because you know, sometimes targets just get equated to the, you know, sometimes targets just get added to whoever's the closest on a certain throw or whatnot. So I don't really take the 11 targets with a full, you know, sample size there. But definitely looked better. Breakout game, first touchdown, and first time over 100 yards. It's definitely looking good for Rome's development. Austin Booker. I know he hasn't seen a whole ton of the field, but when he has, it's always felt like he was near the ball when I did see his number out there. His stats don't prove it, but it just seemed like I did see him a lot near the ball when, you know, plays were being made, and in terms of like tackles and stuff. So that is good news. Hopefully we can see him a little bit more. I do want to see a ton of him. I feel like if you drafted him, you should be on high upside on him. Roschon Johnson and Cole Kmet always need to be involved in the game plan. I think we saw it this week. Roschon Johnson, especially with how bad the offensive line is, just let the offensive line just kind of form up their blocks and play power football. Let them play downhill. It'll just make a lot more sense. Cole Kmet, you know, we saw this last week on short, shallow yardage in the middle of the field. He definitely was eating. He was definitely eating in other parts of the field as well. You know, you paid Kmet this money. Go fucking use him. I understand if there was a disconnect between the coaching and the front office, but Kmet definitely earned the money, and if you're going to be paying him, you may as well be using him, because that's the same excuse why you're putting Nate Davis out there. For the defense side of the ball, like I said, with how long will this defense play like this, with the offense not doing them any favors? You know, if the offense can't get things going early in the football games and they get put on the field a lot, they're going to get tired, they're going to get worn down, their confidence is going to get drained, you know, because there was multiple times where they made a good stop and then all of a sudden they're back on the field no more than a minute later because of, you know, 2 incomplete passes and run. I know I'd be pissed. I know I'd be sitting there like, what the fuck are these guys doing? We're trying to get off the field and these guys can't stay on the field. Downhill power running football teams might be able to feast upon us, especially if they have good O-lines or O-lines that can climb/pass off at a good rate, good success rate. We saw it this week against Indianapolis. Now, I think Indianapolis has a very underrated offensive line, mainly because of injuries and just how good they've been in years past. But individually, they do have a good O-line. I think they are one of the better units in football. But yeah, we saw it with Jonathan Taylor. If you run straight downhill at us, if you run those zones, I think you can easily beat us, especially on the defense side of the ball. I don't think we have the defensive line yet to really stop a whole ton of that. And when you don't have a good D-line, they get up to your backers, and your backers can't do their jobs. Time to see how good these corners are against the Rams. Time to load the box versus Kyren and send extra pressure against Stafford with a bunch of backup receivers or not as good receivers. You know, you have Coop and Puka out. I don't know how long each of those guys are out. You know, still not having, I think, Tyler Higbee. Your two best weapons are Stafford and Kyren Williams at this point. Go stack the box. Go put pressure on them to make a play downfield. I think our defensive back room is very good and very deep. Let's use it, and let's fucking send some extra pressure to get home to Stafford. Coaching. Shane, it's time to take the kid gloves off. Like, fucking call the offense how you want to call it. Don't fucking play this pussy shit. If you want to throw the ball 50 times, go throw the ball 50 times. Go fucking prove that this is your job. Go prove that we were correct in hiring you. Or it's time to get the fuck out of town. If you want to run this basic-ass offense with Caleb fucking Williams, time to leave. It's as simple as that. The O-line coach just needs to be fired, and good riddance. If he doesn't get fired soon, I don't understand what the fuck Eberflus is doing. /Poles. They're just being little cowards at this point. Coaching is being shown more and more important each year. Especially this year, it seems like teams that had low expectations coming out on fire because of coaching more than anything. And teams that have star players that go down and don't have the greatest coaching are struggling currently at the moment. Some people are coming to the realization that we probably should have gotten rid of Eberflus last season just because of his defense. We allowed him to stay. I said this before we drafted Caleb. I said this in the offseason. I said if we draft Caleb Williams, I think we should have a new fresh start at head coach. If we keep Justin Fields, we should let Eberflus get one more chance just because of the defensive side of the ball. I said this last year. Like I said, in the offseason, I said it. I was like, I don't understand why we keep doing this with the last 3 quarterbacks we've drafted. We've kept the head coach that should be out the door 1 extra year and gave them the opportunity to try to turn it around with a new quarterback. And then, of course, after their rookie season, we end up cutting the coach loose because he didn't have a successful season. I just don't understand how you can sit here and do it for a 3rd straight time. I understand Poles wasn't a part of those, but it's still just annoying to see. You know, we kept John Fox for an extra year. Let him get one more chance with Mitchell Trubisky. We let Matt Nagy stay an extra year so we could see if he had one more year of success with Justin Fields. And then we're doing the same thing with Eberflus. I think Eberflus is gone after this year. Just personally, I don't think he stays. And especially if we finish below 500. If we finish, I maybe shouldn't say that. If we finish like 8 and 9, I think he might stay. But I think anything less than 8 and 9, I think you have to see as a failure. Especially with how just good this team should be. And especially in a weak division. I know the Vikings are playing out of their mind. I know the Lions are still playing out of their mind. I know the Green Bay Packers are still playing out of their mind considering the fact that they, you know, lost Jordan Love for a little bit. But it's still just very annoying to see that we just can't get anything going. Eberflus just continues to make the wrong decisions in terms of coaching and stuff like that. I just don't understand it. I know we have to get to 2-2 or people will really start to talk about Eberflus. These next 2 games are must wins. And then the next 6 games is definitely where we need to grab some wins. Because once we get to the divisional games, it's going to get tougher. I don't think the Bears will drop them early. Of course, the Bears and the Steelers, I think, are like the 2 teams only in NFL history not to fire a coach midway through the season. So I don't see them firing him. But I think if we drop to 1-3, or even 2-3, I think there's going to be a lot of talk about Eberflus. If we lose the next 2 games, it's going to get very, very bad for Eberflus online. I would like to see him get dropped early if we go 1-4 through the first 5 games, but I know they won't. The McCaskies are a bunch of pussies, so I really hope Eberflus gets it done over this next 6 games. I hope we win at least 3, maybe 4. If we can go 4-2 over the next 6 games and end with a, you know, what would that be? 5-4 record going into, you know, the divisional games and stuff and the end of the season stuff, then I could definitely see a better chance of him staying and a better chance of us actually having a chance to compete for a wild card spot. But as of right now, if we drop one of the next 2 games, I think it's going to be pretty tough. We got the Rams, we got the Panthers. I think we need to win those 2. Could have won against, of course, the Colts. We'd be even in a better situation. Less pressure would be on this Rams game. But as of right now, man, it doesn't look good for this Eberflus staff. The offense looks stagnant. Like I said, how long will the defense put up with it? Coaching on the O-line just does not look good. I understand the players aren't the greatest, right? It could be a mixed bag of things. It could be both, really. It could be the coaching not being good, and it could be the players not being good. But you got to try something at some point. You got to try to turn your season around and see if you can get something going. You know, I don't know what Kyle Long is up to, if he'd even be willing to coach. I don't know if one of these other former Bears on the O-line, you know, that were good O-linemen in the past, you know, I don't know if one of them would want to come back and try to coach under Eberflus, but you got to try something at some point, or the season's just going to be a wash, and you're going to get fired, and then we're going to be looking for a new head coach in Caleb Williams' second year, you know, and we're going to restart this process again. But with that being said, guys, if you guys did enjoy this video or any of the videos here on my channel, I would appreciate it if you guys do stick around and subscribe. I'll be back with more videos like this. With that being said, I'm out. Peace.